I thought success would feel like freedom, but instead it felt like survival. And if you're in a season where you're working nonstop just to afford your life, this might change the way you think about everything. So let me start from the beginning. When I left for college, I imagined a like Carrie Bradshaw type of life where I'm living in the city, working and hanging out with my friends, having brunch and essentially doing something creative. So in college, I studied arts management, which I thought was my path, but in reality, especially in Charleston, it's very different. The creative industry here is heavily based on who you know. And at the time, I really could not afford to do unpaid internships or work for free and just network. I came from a working class background and it wasn't about chasing passion, it was about paying rent. So during the time I worked multiple jobs. I worked as a banquet server, substitute teachers, and I even worked at a cool ice cream shop that's still there. I worked mornings in one place and nights in another. I remember one night specifically in 2019, I worked overnight a banquet shift, so it was like a night shift. And I came back the next day in the morning to do like an afternoon shift. And that's when I found out that all non management staff had to be furloughed. So essentially, because of COVID, if you weren't in a managerial position, you couldn't work. You couldn't be out until that was lifted. And I remember thinking, I've been working nonstop and I'm still replaceable. So I just got so caught up in surviving the day to day that I hadn't even realized that I wasn't any closer to building the life that I wanted. So I left work feeling confused and angry and honestly defeated because I'd given them everything and I still felt like it was not enough. At that moment I felt like it was a setback, but it was actually a wake-up call. I was exhausted physically and mentally. I remember sitting in my apartment thinking, is this what my life is going to be like? And that's when it hit me that this pace, the way I was living, it was not sustainable. And what I realized over time is this, that maybe the job title that I was chasing was never actually my dream. The dream was how I wanted to feel, which was creative, free, and at ease. And in that moment, that environment did not support me. It drained me. And so I also realized something deeper. Where you live shapes who you are. In my early 20s, I thrived off of a busy, high energy environment with restaurants and events, and in the middle, everything, but internally, I was exhausted. I felt rushed. I felt disconnected. Like I was constantly trying to play catch up in my own life. By the time I entered the workforce, which is now in my mid 30s, I need something different. I needed something different, which was quiet, space, walkability, a slower lifestyle, living with intention, I would say. And honestly, I only learned this by living it and choosing the wrong environment first, by pushing myself into lifestyles that look good on paper but didn't actually fit the real me. And now this is something I actually want to help women think through. It's not just where you move and how you want your life to look like on paper, but it's how they want their life to feel on the daily basis, because your home isn't just a place, it's the foundation of everything. If you take anything from this video, let it be this. Don't choose a life that looks successful but is exhausting to maintain, because sometimes it's not you, it's your environment. And if you're wondering whether it's true for you, here's a few signs that I've noticed. If you feel drained in your own space, your day to day feels heavy, and you're constantly looking for an escape instead of being home, that's not alignment. Choose an environment that nurtures the version of you that you're becoming. I really believe we're moving out of the grind culture era, especially women, where success meant overworking, overextending, and constantly providing. And we're moving into something softer, something more intentional, where it looks like time with your friends and family, time with yourself, time on your projects, space to think, and space to be. If you're in a season where your life doesn't feel aligned anymore, I love to know, what are you craving more of right now? Slower mornings, more space, a different environment? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, guys, bye.